And again, there was more opportunity to use some of the things that we have in our scheme. I think that's probably my takeaway. I thought it was really, really well executed by the players. A lot of that stuff has a lot of layers, and what Miami does with a lot of motions and shifts really makes it hard, and it was a really hard week of practice. But we played a really clean game, not just from a physical standpoint. We didn't miss very many tackles. We covered pretty well, those kind of things. But we played a really clean game as far as communication and assignment and things like that. And that's what I was proud of in the game.
Tackle really livened up the crowd. Can it liven up a sideline too, seeing that?
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention to the crowd as the game goes, but you definitely feel stuff like that on the sideline. I think anybody that's making plays, that can be contagious. And we talked about Grant before, but guys rushing well, guys making hits on the quarterback, guys making big hits anywhere. Like Alex Wright had a few of those also. Some big contact on wide receiver screens and scrambles and things like that. All that stuff is certainly contagious.
You kind of catch you off guard with giving you that game ball in the locker room after the game?
Well, first, there's a couple things with that. First of all, I was soaking wet after the game, so already peeling my shell off. But my biggest sort of error in that is I mistakenly believed that we were in the locker room and not in a TV studio. So shirtless certainly acceptable in a locker room. Wasn't really prepared for it to be TV studio. College friends can be brutal. Men are a lot brutal, more brutal to their friends than they are to others. I got a message after the game. It's like, yo, Schwartz, like, you leave the shirt on until you lose 15. So, yeah, there's that too. But happy for the players' success in that. That when anytime you give a defensive coordinator game ball, it's really a team thing. I didn't play the game. Those guys played the game, and not only did they play an assignment, or they played a clean game assignment-wise, they played physically. And I think, we always talk about defensively. When you put our film on, you should see guys playing physical, guys playing with great effort, and guys having some personality. Those are the things we preach. And I think if you turn that game on, you'd see all those things. And, that's what sort of led to that's what led to our win. And everything else, it wasn't any magic scheme or anything else. It was those three things that shined through on the film.
During training camp, I think it was you and Coach Tarver who mentioned that you thought Schlesinger had led the team in interceptions in practice. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we ever really kept track, but I don't really think it was very close. I think, he had a bunch. And you're going to see it. It's just a matter of time. He's had a couple opportunities where he's taken a look away, and the quarterback has either gotten sacked because of what Carson did, or he's gone somewhere else. It's just a matter of time before that shows. That's a part of his game. We've seen him rush. We've seen him play on the perimeter. We've seen him play physically inside. We've seen him be productive on the stat sheet. We've seen him lead the group as far as play call and communication and those things. The next thing you're going to see is some of those plays come up.
And how does he complement that room? Like, given he's big, he's fast, like he's bigger than Denzel. Like, does he add something a little different in terms of complementing those guys you already have?
Yeah, I mean, we were sad to lose Greg, but we did get a good player in return, and I mean, it was a tough situation for him the first week coming in. Super early morning flight, just played a Monday night game, had to turn things around really quickly, made some good plays, also had a couple of errors. But, the more he gets boots on the ground and more comfortable with things, you start seeing the playmaker. I thought one of the big things is he did a really good job on that ball in the end zone of getting some vision there. And that was one of the things that we talked about. And he tries to play physically, which is important for a corner. He's got rare speed. I mean, he's a state 100-meter and 200-meter champ. I mean, that was a track meet. Denzel's tracking him from the other side, but Tyson has a bad angle and still catches up. And I would say this about that game, that, there were a few things that happened that over the course of the year we haven't done a great job in, whatever. We got a special teams penalty. They had just missed a field goal, and we had a special teams penalty. We didn't go to pieces. We didn't give up a touchdown there. We stopped them, held them to a field goal attempt. They made a long run early in that game, and a guy like Achan is going to make some plays like that. We didn't fit that great, but, Tyson tracked them down. We got to stop, held them to a field goal. And I think, that's probably the biggest thing. There were some times in that game we had some bad field position. We had to punt backed up, got the ball midfield. I was really pleased with our ability to respond to those things because that's something that we haven't always been at our best at over the course of the year, and hopefully that'll move. And, Tyson's a big part of that.
And you mentioned Alex Wright making a couple big plays, obviously, on Sunday. What have you just seen from him in terms of, especially coming off the injury last year, in terms of his development and what he's kind of brought to the table for the team?
Yeah, Alex has been a good player for us. It's just that, some injuries have sort of derailed him. My first year here, he had an injury at the end of training camp. I think it was a knee injury, and that sort of derailed him a little bit, then started playing good football for us. And last year had the tricep thing or whatever that was, shoulder, tricep. But now he's healthy. And he's playing with great effort. He's a factor in pass rush. He's such a big guy, long. He can affect the passer in a lot of different ways. He's playing really physical run defense. There's a lot to like there. We're getting a lot of production out of all of our defensive line. You guys know we play a lot of different guys. But, Alex has certainly made a lot of plays. Some of those pursuit plays he was making in this game, that's what you have to do against a team that's throwing the ball quick and getting the ball out on the perimeter. If you don't have your D-line turning and running and making plays, you're in for a long day. And Miami's offense is good. We played pretty good in that game, but we had a lot of respect for their ability to put points on the board. They had filled up the scoreboard in a lot of their games. But guys like Alex, all our guys, but Alex, Mason made some really good effort plays in there. And, our defensive line, as they go, they're the engine that drives us. And when that engine is humming with guys like Alex and Mason and Miles and Malik and all those other guys, when they're making plays, that really helps spur the rest of our defense. Okay.